guys, I'm Sai and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation. On the channel, we feature podcasts, interviews and content on all sorts of subjects, with shows released, recorded or scheduled on various different things, including mental health, football, films, TV, serial killers, wrestling, music, conspiracy theories and more. We have a weekly series on football, which is the Andy Campbell Championship Show, where we discuss the latest news and results from the football world and focus on the championship results. We've also got a brand new unscripted, uncensored show with UFC star Brett Johns, as well as interviews with former BBC and ITV journalist Anna Brees. And me and Danny Batten reviewed UFC 245 for our MMA series. Today on the podcast with no name, I'm joined by Jamie, who you remember from the previous shows, and the last episode we focused on the Joker, and today we're going to talk the Terminator series and the new film and the Black Widow trailer, which dropped recently, and that's about it because there's about 16 billion Terminator films, so
there's a lot.
Have a little chat about them, but we'll mainly focus on the new one. How are you, Jamie? You okay, mate?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Take two now, innit? Because we got going, and then my laptop just went poop. Don't want to play. And I've just realised I've lost all my notes about the Black Widow trailer, which is also handy. So I'll have to do that off the top of my head. This is great. It always happens when you're like feeling a bit under the weather.
Yeah,
these things happen. But yeah, so obviously this week there's a few rumblings, as it were, that they're going to bring in what's his name, Doctor Doom in Black Panther 2, and probably Storm as well, which I think people were kind of expecting Storm, I think, but Doctor Doom's an interesting one. And I hope they build him up as like a really like formidable baddie, and they kind of take it over a few films at least. I'd rather them build him up. I'd rather him not really be in it that much, and them kind of build him up as the big villain for like this kind of phase of films.
Yeah.
Even if he's not going to be like the big sort of Thanos,
the big bad.
Yeah, for like all the Avengers to take on. Like, I wouldn't mind him being like an overarching kind of villain for a few of the shows, because, you know, like in the cartoons and that, he is like, he's in a lot of episodes, and he feuds with Captain America, he feuds with Black Panther, and he's not sort of confined to one character, is he?
No. But see, I thought they were going to do what's their version of Aquaman?
Namor.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the Black Panther.
Well, I think he is good. I don't know how they'll work it. So maybe because that's what they said, wasn't it? That it was going to be Namor. So maybe they'll kind of do it as Namor, and they will just introduce Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
as kind of like he might just be like a character, and they'll build him up that way, which I think could be good. I guess it depends what they want to do with the characters and stuff. Like Storm's got to come into it, I think. Like that was, that was like a no-brainer. And then I got to thinking like how they could bring in the other characters from Fox into the MCU and stuff like that. And I think I'd quite like to see them bring in Wolverine the same way they did in the comics, where they did the Wolverine versus Hulk comic, and they kind of come across each other in Canada, I think it is. Yeah. I think that could be quite cool, where they sort of do that in a film version, because I've seen the animated version of that, and that's really good. So I think if they do that, that could be a pretty good way to do it. Who would you like to see, like who else would you like to see come in and where?
Well, like there's so many possibilities with Doctor Strange, because if he's going to do the multiverse of madness, you can introduce everyone. Because you could stream it. If he's going through a multiverse, you could pop in for all the films, really, couldn't he? Like at some point, in the timeline. So you could put like someone in there, but before we got cut off, we're off by Wolverine in Spider-Man. That'd be pretty cool. Then I was like, maybe he could be have like an experiment now in Black Widow. The Russians are doing, even though he's American. But do you know, like it could be
Yeah.
like an experiment for Wolverine, and that's how they get.
Well, like in the X-Men film, they in one of the X-Men films when they did like flashbacks, and he was in like World War II and stuff, wasn't
Yeah,
he? So like you could
could be
have him in
captions.
like in the Cold War, and he could
Yeah,
be like captured or something like that. There's ways to do that, and especially because with Black Widow, it's not going to be set in one time. It's like over a few different timelines
yeah.
in sort of times in history. Like you could kind of do it without it being like a
I was
major part of the film. It could be more of an
reading
Easter egg.
like like the plot as such that they're trying to decipher from it, and it's Black Widow is her looking back from the events after Civil War, and she has to go back and look at what happened in her life after that. So it's really weird because, well, we'll talk more later. I think so.
Well, we'll go on. We'll go on to that now
No,
because
like that.
what I think is they'll I think that what they'll do is set. So the film's set in between Civil War and Infinity War. So at the end of Civil War, obviously Black Widow is on the run, and you
Yeah,
see Thunderbolt Ross in the trailer. So I think it's gonna. But you also see him as a younger version of him chasing her.
yeah,
Obviously when back in the day. So I think they're gonna kind of show that like parallel to each other, like him sort of hunting her down before he brought her on board or whatever, and then also after Civil War. And what they might do is they might start the film that he's captured her, and then she's kind of going through her life story, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
I know what you're saying.
It's like then you flick to the film and you go through all the different sort
It's
of
kind of like
timelines
she's
and
being
elements to it.
interrogated, and he's asking her what's gone on in her life, sort of thing. Like,
And then you like so in the trailer you've got I think it's Yelena, I think her name is, which is played by Florence Pugh. I do you think she's going to be the new Black Widow going forward, or do you
I think
think
so.
do you think they're going to find a way to bring her back somehow?
Um, I don't know. Like, I would like to see Scarlett Johansson back, but if they do go down that road, wouldn't be so bad either because she looks just as cool anyway, doesn't she? Like, the trailer footage was amazing. I wasn't overly excited for another prequel, but
Yeah,
this
I'm not
one
a
looks
massive fan of
so
prequels.
cool.
That's the thing. I'm not like a huge fan of prequels in general. I don't
No,
like them.
no,
So it was going to have to do a bit more for me to win me over. But the trailer I thought was really good. I'll be very, very disappointed if there's no Hawkeye, because I think whenever anyone has
yeah,
said over the years, like, do a Black Widow film, everyone's wanted that Budapest. That's what they want, is a Hawkeye and Black
yeah,
Widow Budapest story. And there's a lot of footage of Budapest in the trailer.
yeah,
If it's going to be set over like a few different sort of timelines, if you like, of her, there's going to be some of her, like how she was trained and the ballet school and all, all that type of thing. But then you're
the
going to have
Red Room.
also,
Is it the Red?
yeah,
Yes,
the
the
Red
Red
Room,
Room,
innit?
innit? Yeah,
And then you're also going to have her on the run in present day, or like near enough present
whatever
day.
day it is. Yeah,
And then you're also going to have probably a story in the middle where she's teaming up with Yelena and the Red Guardian.
I'm gutted they didn't call him Captain Communist. Like, that would be so cool.
Yeah, I just don't think they might. They might. Do you know what? They might make a joke of it and say
Yeah,
it like in passing, or like sometimes in the Netflix, I think it was Daredevil, series 1, when Patsy's like they were like looking at costumes, and there was one which was like similar to a comic book costume, and
yeah,
then Jessica Jones and Jessica Jones says like a couple of different nicknames, like
yeah.
messing about, and then mentions her comic book name. So they might kind of do it like that sort of thing. I think. But I saw like
And I like David Harbour as well. He's cool.
he is
Like
really...
Hellboy was really good. I don't understand why people didn't like it.
Well,
Quite
see,
late.
my problem with it is that I really, really liked Ron Perlman as Hellboy.
Yeah.
So I found it difficult to, even though I really like the actor, I just found it difficult because I really liked the original Hellboy films. I saw loads of people like going, "Oh, Marvel, like fat shaming again," and I was like,
They're not.
no, they're not like at all. And like when you and Reese discussed Endgame, and like Reese, I think it was Reese, it might be me or you, I can't remember, but one of us said that we didn't like the way, I think it was Reese said he didn't like the way they had done Thor in Endgame, not because he was fat and that sort of thing, but he didn't like the fact that they made the PTSD comic relief. Whereas, and I said, we're in Iron Man 3, Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. did an amazing job with it.
Yeah.
I like the acting and the PTSD and that side of it. But then Endgame was such a heavy film after
You needed that
Infinity
comic
War.
relief.
You needed it, didn't you? And I thought it was really good. I thought it was funny. And I don't buy into this kind of like, oh, Marvel
you
are
can't do that.
fat shaming people. It's like fucking
Grow up in it.
yeah, get grip, man.
Too many times people
just
on the
want to.
internet.
They just want to like complain about everything. Like they just
Can't
don't
trust
understand
people.
it.
They voted Tory.
It's just fucking
Oh.
it's just craziness, mate. They're just like, well, I'm not getting into politics, mate.
No, not today. No, I can't be bothered. We're talking films.
What I will say about it is they're all liars, they're all cheats, and they're all full of shit. And I find it very difficult to go and vote for any of them because they're all full of shit. Yeah, none of them give a shit about us. So it's like
that's why I watch films.
Yeah, you're picking the worst of a bad bunch. Like it's just until there's someone decent to vote for. I find it really difficult to motivate myself to vote because I just think don't like any of you. You're all all exactly the same. And if you look at their policies, they're all pretty much the fucking same as well. Right. Anyway. So yeah, like obviously Budapest has been referenced in a couple of the Avengers films, and they referenced it again in Endgame and in that final trip to Vormir and stuff. And that's knowing Marvel, that's probably not a coincidence because they didn't need to bring it up again because they'd mentioned it a couple of times in previous films. Unless they were going to do stuff. Yeah. So I tend to think if they were going to do something with it, they'll probably do something with it. And even if Hawkeye's not in it, it might be like she gets into like a load of trouble in Budapest, and then he kind of comes in with S.H.I.E.L.D. and rescues her or helps her out at the end of it.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
But they did a really good job of de-aging William Hurt when he's the younger version, because I had to double take to see if it was a different actor.
They've got that spot on now.
Well, you look at the way they de-aged him and they've de-aged some of the other characters throughout all the Marvel films, and you look at The Irishman on Netflix.
I was just saying, have you seen The Irishman?
Because I haven't watched it all, but I think that not all the CGI, but some of the de-aging CGI, I think is not very good. But I think the reason it's not very good is not that it's not amazing what they can do, but I think it's like they haven't referenced like De Niro and the others when they were younger. Yeah, in films they were in when they were younger, they've just de-aged them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Whereas
they should have went back to like Raging Bull.
Yeah, and Casino and stuff and like that. And I'm expecting to see them looking like that, whereas they look like, well, as you get older, you get a bit wider, don't you? Just your head gets wider and everything. And if you just de-age someone, they don't look the same as they did when they were younger because they've changed shape.
It doesn't help though, that because we've seen them younger.
Yeah, I think. Go on.
I like that doesn't help, but I still like the look of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've really seen a part of it at the moment, The Irishman, so I can't comment fully. But from what I've seen, I think it would have been better if for the younger versions, they had cast other actors and then had just had them play from like 50 upwards.
Yeah,
because
I get you.
when they were really old, they did it really well. When they were their own age, obviously they did it really well. But like there was a couple of scenes where, like when he was beating the shopkeeper up, he just didn't have the same verve as he did
No,
in like Goodfellas and stuff like that. And it's no fault of his. It's just because he's
an old man.
70 now.
Yeah, he's an old man.
But that's not to say I didn't like it, and I haven't finished watching it yet. It's just very long. I would rather they
It
broke
is
it up
long
into
as
like
fuck.
4 or 5 episodes of like 45 minutes or an hour, and I think people would have, because I've seen a lot of people slating it on social media, and I think a big part of that is that it's like a really, really long film. Whereas if they broke it up into 5 hours of 5 episodes, you got that a bit of extra storytelling, and I think people would have really, really like raved about it. But
Yeah,
we'll review it on the next
once you've
You might
watched it.
gotta watch it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so back to Black Widow. It's you get a lot of Budapest. There's Budapest stations in it as well. You got the young General Ross. You get introduced to Yelena, who's played by Florence Pugh, who I agree with you. I think she'd be a really good Black Widow. And it's weird, isn't it? Because like you've got her and you've got the Kate Bishop character coming in the TV show.
Yes.
By the time they do Avengers in, I think it's 2024, because they announced it recently, didn't they?
Yes.
2024.
There is an Avengers.
It's called the New Avengers, I think I saw. I don't know if that's confirmed, but
they're keeping tight-lipped with it, innit? But it is obviously leaked.
Well, the thing is, when you look at that Avengers roster and you look at what they're doing with like Black Widow and Hawkeye, and
it's young Avengers.
Who's going to be in it? Who's in this initial roster of Avengers? Probably Spider-Man. Maybe the Hulk. But I think Doctor Strange. I think Hulk will be like the Nick Fury type
Doctor
thing.
Strange could be the new leader.
Well, I wanted them to do Illuminati. I thought that would be, and that would have been a way. Cool. I thought that was a way to keep Tony Stark. Obviously, before they killed him off, I thought that would have been a good way to keep Tony Stark alive, but not have him to do. He didn't need to do Iron Man films. He didn't need to do Avengers films. He could just be like in charge, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson is like 75 or something. They've.
Yeah, he's
a
done
lot
well.
Of the actors are very, they're getting on a bit. So you can see why they're starting to position these younger characters. But equally, I do think they need to be careful in that when that new Avengers film comes, if it's a completely new roster, people might turn off a little bit from it because they've grown to love all these characters. But I guess it'll depend on how good a job they do now telling all these stories, and they've got the Disney Plus TV shows, which helps.
Well, that's a lot of the fades in the TV shows. So that's cool. But will you have the Guardians back with them? Like, it depends who's going to be like the big bad, doesn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, and they're on about changing, some of the Guardians as well, which I think there's. I can see why they'd want to do that because there's some really interesting characters that they can bring in, like Adam Warlock and a few others. One thing I did read, which I found really interesting and I was quite excited about, is that they're going to do an Agents of S.W.O.R.D. on. It's probably going to be on Hulu.
Hulu, yeah, I'd imagine.
But I think if they do that, that's great because that way, Agents of S.W.O.R.D. and then use that to relaunch all the Netflix series onto Hulu, providing they don't recast and they use all the actors from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they've done a lot of stuff in space, so it's so easy to write that at this last series of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now to like leave it not on a cliffhanger, but like just finish it where we're or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is dead, but we're gonna have to protect the Earth from space, kind of thing. I think the only Netflix characters I'd recast is probably, even though I liked him, I'd probably recast.
Luke Cage?
I
Ivis.
keep Luke Cage. I'd recast Iron Fist characters, even though I actually really like him, and I wouldn't personally.
I wouldn't.
But
I keep Daredevil because he's class.
From a business point of view, I think so many people didn't like him that I think they probably do need to recast him. But like, The Punisher was just epic. It's like that's one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
He is the main protagonist of a game I just finished, Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the main protagonist. Walker, really good game. For anyone who's like PlayStation 4 and they don't want to listen to reviews, I very much enjoyed that. I like the Ghost Recon games anyway. So,
all right, cool. But you've got like Daredevil, you've got all the Defenders, you've got the Punisher, you've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. who can become Agents of S.W.O.R.D. Then you've got Ghost Rider, and then you've got the ones like which are on like Amazon Prime. What's it? It's I can't remember the name. Not Light and Dark. I can't remember the names of them.
I remember
there's that,
a new
and
photo
there's the Runaways.
Because it was Liz Hurley's boobies on the poster, and I was like, "Oh, she got nice boobies." I remember it. It'll come back to me in a minute.
Yeah,
I'll probably be halfway through something else. Oh, there's that.
Yeah, but they've got that, and they've got the Runaways on. I think that's on Hulu anyway. So they've got like a good basis to have like a TV universe, and then because of they're bringing in the TV on Disney Plus, all everyone's ever wanted is to see like the Daredevil and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mixing with the films. And then you don't even need to mix them with the films now. You can bring them in the TV shows on Disney Plus, and I think people will be happy with that.
Because the production value of Disney Plus is amazing.
Cloak
like
and
the
Dagger.
Mandalorian. Yeah, I say Cloak and Dagger. The production value of the Mandalorian is amazing.
Yeah,
there's little films, like 40-minute films, like really good.
And when you think, if you've got all those characters, then you're bringing in She-Hulk and Moon Knight, and then the X-Men, the X-Men characters who are not necessarily going to be on the main X-Men team, or like War Machine. You could have him do like some crossover. There's so much potential for it. You could do like a Red Hulk thing. You could do what I would really like to see, and I think it's a bit random, and I think it's unlikely to happen, is the Agents of Smash. I'd love to see like a TV show or a film of that. Just like, so you'd have like She-Hulk, Red Hulk, Hulk, and then you have the other couple. And I just think that could be really interesting on Disney Plus, because you could do that in a way where it doesn't need to go to Hulu because there's a cartoon of it.
Yeah. I just finished a comic, Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
That's really cool because basically the Hulk has like taken over part of America, and like the Hulk lands and stuff. And he's got kids because he slept with his cousins, so they're all hillbillies, and it's really bizarre. Like if you like comics, people read Old Man Logan. Really cool.
Isn't that what the Logan film was based on, though, or is it like a bit of a mixture of a couple of comics?
It's a mixture of a couple of comics, but Old Man Logan is based on Logan. Logan is based on Old Man Logan, but the one I read, it had like Hillbilly Hulk and that in there. It was really cool because there's also a Planet Hulk comic as well, which is supposed to be really cool.
Yeah, I've read that Planet Hulk because you got like it goes Planet Hulk and then World War Hulk, and so basically Planet Hulk, the Illuminati can't control the Hulk, so they shoot him off into space. He like goes to a planet Scar, has to fight in the thing like in Ragnarok, and then he kind of takes over and he gets married, and then he comes back, and then World War Hulk is him coming back because Tony Stark and the Illuminati launch a missile at his planet or the moon or something, and it kills one of his sons. and then he comes back in World War Hulk, and I think that would.
This show should probably be the Marvel show at the minute because we're talking a lot of Marvel.
I know we haven't even got to Terminator. Yeah, I can't.
Balls of Terminator. We'll just talk Marvel now. Then.
Yeah, I could. I could do it all the time, mate. And the other thing is because I don't, because Reese is having a bit of a hiatus as well from conspiracy theory shows. I normally speak to him about Marvel like regularly as well.
Yeah.
So like, I've had no Marvel conversation other than with my kids, and they're boring. But yeah.
Because I'm right before Ragnarok again, and it's my second favorite film.
If you do like Hulk Agents of Smash as a TV on Disney Plus, you could have like
2 seconds.
You know what I mean?
Ray, Finn, or Seth Cooper.
Seth Trooper. Why?
Because all three of them in an action show.
Huh?
All three of them in an action show.
Okay. Oh, she's asking you about Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
Ray. Yeah, Ray. Yeah, Ray. I love Ray.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So if you did Agents of Smash as like a Disney Plus show, you'd have Hulk, Red Hulk, She-Hulk, which you could launch. You could cross them over initially with like the She-Hulk TV show.
Yeah.
A-Bomb, Scar, and then the baddie in it is the leader who was in the original Hulk film. Do you know what I mean? And that could be, I just think that would be, it would be expensive. So I think you could have to do it like a 3-part kind of
TV show,
which is like the culmination of She-Hulk or maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if they, with the rights thing with the Hulk where they can't do the film, a solo film. I wonder if they can do solo TV show.
Maybe. I don't think it'll be long before they've got the rights back again because it doesn't look like Universal will be making.
No, they wouldn't. They're not going to make it. Do you know what though? If they did, do you know what? People would just think it's like so when I was looking at the Terminator films on Amazon over the last week and stuff, that when Terminator, I think it was when Salvation came out, they released a film called The Terminators, which is like, it's not like a parody in like a comedy type way. It's just it's like pretty much the same story as the original Terminator. It's really weird, but like people would think that that's what the Hulk film would be unless Marvel co-produced it.
It's like when Guardians come out, the Russians done like their own version of the Guardians, and it was really weird. Yeah, it's really weird. I'll find it for you and I'll send it to you. It's really strange.
I'll have to look at that.
My friend in work watched Dan, and he said it was really good. But it's like it's like a Drax. It's weird. I'll find it. I'll send it over.
Yeah.
Send it over.
We'll have to review that for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So, go on then. We'll move on to the Terminator franchise. We're going to generally talk about the new one, but just in terms of, did you watch all of them?
I can't watch after 3, to be honest. I watched the new one, but like after 3, I can't do it. Like they're bad. Well, they're not bad, but because because I know they're not canon.
Yeah,
like
it's
they're canon, but yeah, it's like what was the point in them then?
So, I think I'm different to everyone else. Like my order of like the ones which I like the best. The Terminator 2 is the best.
Well, no, this is the best one.
Terminator 2 is the best. Then I'd say I think I like the new one. Then Terminator 1. Then Terminator Genesis. I really like Terminator Genesis. I watched it again today. See, people hate it, but I actually really like it because I think with that, they at least tried to make sense of the mistakes that the other films had kind of pissed all over.
The problem is with them, they snowballed and it didn't stop.
But if you'd gone Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, and then Terminator Genesis, that would have been fine.
It would have been fine.
Because it would have made sense.
It didn't need the others.
Salvation was just terrible. I get what they were trying to do. Like they were trying to tell the story from like, they were trying to do like a Matrix 3 type thing where you're telling the story of the actual war rather than the build up to it.
On about Matrix, off topic, have you seen they've announced John Wick 4 and the new Matrix film is going to be released on the same day?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Keanu Reeves is going to be loaded.
Keanu Reeves Day.
Yeah, I love the Matrix films. They're my favorite film franchise of all time.
Do you like the John Wick films?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Do,
We
yeah.
should definitely do a show on the John Wick films.
Yeah, the Matrix 1, I've watched that so many times, and I can always just watch it. It's the best film ever made. I
I
love it.
can tell you, the first time I watched The Matrix, it was New Year's Eve, 1999, before we went into the millennium.
Oh, madness.
Yeah.
See, I went to the Millennium Stadium in 1999, and I left at like 9 o'clock because I couldn't get served, and I just could be bothered. Like, so we went next door to Walkabout. We spent all that money on tickets to see the Manic Street Preachers in the stadium, and on New Year's Eve we couldn't get served because it was just, the queues were ridiculous. They only had a small amount of bars open, and like me and my friend Steve, we were clever. We'd bought some like stuff with us, but like the group of people we had, no one could get a drink. Like, and it's like, well, are we going to queue here and then buy like 2 drinks at a time? And it's just like, no. So we ended up seeing the New Year in and Walkabout, and then walking home from town.
Nice.
I'm not a fan of New Year anyway.
Nah, it's crap, man.
Back to the fucking podcast, James.
I know, sorry.
So Terminator 1. We're not going to spend too long on these.
No.
What do you like about it? What didn't you like about it?
What I liked about it was the whole concept of it. Like, for its time, it was amazing, brilliant sci-fi film. Like, the fact that what timeline we in, like, ooh, like, are we in the past? Are we in the future? Are they that really confused me at the time, and I was like, that's cool. And then as it went along, and like the picture, and you're like, oh, this is really neat. And I loved it.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I like that Arnold Schwarzenegger starts off as a baddie as well. I think that was a good twist for the time, because I remember, like, when I first watched it, obviously it wouldn't have been 84, it would have been like probably in the 90s sometime.
Yeah.
You're expecting Arnold Schwarzenegger to be the action hero who saves the day, and he's not. But it was way ahead of his time in terms of, like, you look at it now and the special effects look terrible, but it's like 25, 30 years later, and
it's a film that stood the test of time, though, because people still love watching it. Like, I watch them every now and again. If I go out and spare a couple of hours in the afternoon, I go, what can I watch? Check Terminator on, or like, they're just fun films, aren't they?
So nice. I was planning to watch all of them back to back. Not back to back, but like all of them over a couple of days, and I just couldn't get around to it because I've been, like I said to you, trying to record a load of podcasts over the last couple of weeks, ready for Christmas. So like, I just couldn't get around to it. But I think I am going to start tonight from number 1, and I'm going to watch all of them, because I do enjoy watching franchises, like all of them back to back. I've watched the Fast and Furious back to back. I've watched White Collar Hooligan back to back. I just enjoy like that long-term storytelling.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've watched the MCU from start to finish for the kids.
John Wick. What else? I have a look at my collect. All the X-Men films or the DC films. Like, I like watching stuff that is all connected and has its place.
It's like a long-term story, isn't it?
Yeah. I like getting invested in things like Hot Tub Time Machine 1 and 2. Love them.
In Terminator 1 and 2, I thought the boy, John Connor boy, wasn't it Edward Furlong? I thought he really, really, his acting is superb, and he really makes the story, like, he makes you believe the story, like you can believe that he's kind of scared, and so the basic premise of it is that John Connor is Sarah's future daughter, and they send someone back to kill her because he's
the hero of the resistance.
But they also send someone back, which in one of the later films you actually see the moment that they send her back. But and then the person
that was a cool bit. Like,
it was, wasn't
really
it?
Cool. Yeah.
And the person they send back ends up falling in love with Sarah. She gets pregnant, and he's the dad of John Connor, which is like a bit of a mind fuck. He saves her late in the film, like he dies and she lives, and the film finishes off after they sort of defeated the Terminator. The Carl Reese has died. She's pregnant and she's like hardened because she starts off as a waitress, and that's what I really liked about the first one is that she starts off really feminine. She's like a waitress and she's like quite young and she's sort of got very feminine kind of personality and traits. And
she
then
gets
by the end,
hardened all the way through the film. Yeah,
as you would, by all the people dying and stuff. And then Terminator 2, which came out, I didn't realize it had come out 11 years later. So, I mean, there was a big gap between them. But I suppose these days they can churn out.
But you know James Cameron, though, he likes to wait. He doesn't he doesn't rush a sequel.
But the thing is, these days you can churn out like a blockbuster sequel in a couple of years, can't you? Whereas
it's all green,
with the special
it's all
effects,
CGI and stuff now, and so you don't really need the actors because they've almost finished filming the Suicide Squad now, and James Gunn was off. It's just mostly the special effects and stuff now. You're like, oh wow, that's mad.
So quick, isn't it? So the second one, John Connor's living in LA with foster parents. He's like a teenager, and he's he's not
on the Mitch.
Yeah, because his mum's in a mental hospital because no one believes that they saved Judgment Day. They've got no proof that what they're saying is true because it didn't happen. No one believes them. She's in a mental hospital. He's sort of going not off the rails. Well, he is, I suppose, because he's like stolen a bank card and he's in the arcade. A Terminator comes back to kill him or her or both. I forget.
It's to kill him.
Yeah, the second one is to kill him, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of concept, but this time the T-1000, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger, comes back and he's been reprogrammed by John Connor in the future to be a goodie. And I think this is where it really picks up because you want Arnie as a goodie, even though it was a good twist in the first one.
Yeah.
But the T-800 is Arnie. The T-1000 is the liquid one.
Liquid metal, yeah.
And it can mimic, it's got mimetic polyalloy, which means it can, if it touches people, it kills them, but it can take their face and shapeshift and stuff. But then at the end of this one, they destroy the T-1000, but then they also have to destroy Arnie to make sure none of the parts survive.
Can be used again.
Because that's how Skynet is built in the future. It's from the leftover arm from Terminator 1. So at this point, the storytelling is superb. The timeline is intact. The time travel storytelling is good. Everything makes sense. Maybe a couple of plot holes in terms of the time travel here and there, but generally, it's good. And Terminator 2 is the best film in the franchise. Terminator 3, I think, is where it starts to go a bit downhill.
Stinky.
I do like Terminator 3, but it's the weakest out of the trilogy.
It was like.
I like that they change it to a female. For a bit of variation, so it's not just the same story. That's the one criticism I have of 1 and 2 is they're kind of the same story, just reversed. Arnie's version, Arnie's role, and it's the mum and not the son, and they are basically the same story. But go on, sorry, mate.
Like, I get him, but they didn't need to make this one. I don't feel anyway. They could have missed this one and just waited a little longer, maybe.
Yeah.
But they know people are biased, so.
Yeah, people love it. Even after Salvation, which was terrible, which is Terminator 4, people still, like, I think I read Genesis made something like 144 billion or million or something stupid. Like, they make money, so they're going to keep doing them. And like I said,
I don't think they will anymore, though.
I don't know,
because this was supposed to be the first of 3 movies.
This is what I was going to say. So you had Terminator 3, which was set 10 years later. Then after that, there's a gap, and then in 2000, I think it's 2003. You had Terminator Salvation was supposed to be the first of a trilogy, which was
Yeah.
set in the future where the war's going on, and it ends in the third one with Skynet being defeated. But after they do the first one, which is Terminator Salvation, they cancel those two.
Yeah.
So then they do Terminator Genesis, which is again supposed to kick off another trilogy, which I think they really should have, because there was enough plot questions
to keep going.
And that's out of all of them. That's why I really liked it. Like, I want to know who sent Pops to save Sarah when she was a kid. That really bugged me, and I've tried like looking, because they made what was planned to be the trilogy into a comic.
But now
I want to know who sent him.
But now these films don't matter. They're still connected, but don't matter because they've been written out of canon with the new film. So it's like you've made these films, and now they don't matter. Like,
but they kind of like, whilst technically they're out of canon, really. So like in the new one,
they're all, it's like they're loosely connected. It's a loose connection.
But like, you could say there's something changed, like, because they sent back Grace and they sent back the other one to kill Danny in the newest one. So something changed. But like, that happens with time travel anyway. In the way that the Terminator films do time travel is that if you change something in the future, in the past, the future changes. This doesn't do like Marvel, where they switch off into different timelines. So really, you could say that about. You're like, huh? You could say that about every film, couldn't you? You could say like,
you could find plot holes in time travel, and like time travel's really hard to understand. It's not a case of going back.
Yeah,
it's not.
But what I mean, Jamie, is like, if you think, so you had Terminator 1, and then with Terminator 2, because it's set directly after, it's not so bad. But then when you start going back to the time of 1, 2, or 3, it's going to affect everything going forward. Like, things are going to change in the future. So they are still canon. Okay. And they, do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
It keeps changing, but it's still part of the story, because the story is that it's changing, if that makes sense.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I'm with you.
So yeah, it's right. So at the end of Terminator 3, John and Kate reach Crystal Peak, which is where the TX arrives by helicopter. Before it can attack, the rebooted T-101 arrives in a second helicopter. They love a helicopter crash into the TX, crushing it. And it's kind of like the same. There's a lot of these Terminator films, whilst I enjoy them, there's a lot of like kind of samey stuff. Missiles, Judgment Day, helicopters, robots.
It's like, it's a concept that works. So they don't like to, I suppose you don't want to change too much and move bits around in it, when you know what works. But sometimes just move it around
when you look
a little bit.
When you look at it, Terminator 1 worked, Terminator 2 worked. Then they veer off from that concept. Terminator 3, Terminator 4. And do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, once they veered off from that original concept is when they started having problems with what they were doing.
Continuity.
Yeah, and just the general quality of the films. I did like Terminator 3. I liked that they had a female Terminator, because I felt like that was something they needed to do to make it different. I don't even want to talk about Terminator Salvation, because I don't like it at all. However, I did like Christian Bale as John Reese. I will say that. I preferred him to the John Reese in Genesis.
Christian Bale's brilliant, though.
Yeah, he is awesome. We've talked about him before. Yeah. He's just so good. Right, Terminator Genesis. So I watched Terminator Genesis earlier today. And I actually, now that I think about it, I think it's my third favorite of the series. I think I prefer it to the original one.
Ooh.
Controversial, I know.
Yeah. Like, again, the de-aging, brilliant.
Very, very good.
Very good.
it starts off, it's 2029, it's in the future, and you've got John Connor, he's leading the offensive. You see how he meets Kyle Reese as a child, like Kyle Reese as a child, and he saves him from a Terminator. And then you go to the moment, it's like the first couple of scenes, and you go to the moment where they're defeating Skynet, and then the Skynet send back Arnold Schwarzenegger to kill Sarah in the first film in 1984. And then you see him send Carl Reese back, and you're thinking, well, this is awesome to see it from the other side. But then just as Carl Reese is going into the time machine, the Skynet Terminator grabs John Connor and he does something to him. You don't know what he's done.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good twist because you're like, all right, I didn't expect that straight away. And then
I'm glad you're more fresh though, because I can't remember a lot of this.
Yeah,
film,
I literally watched it a few hours ago, so that's the only reason I can remember. So then Kyle Reese is expecting to go back to 1984, and then it's basically going to be the original Terminator, where Sarah doesn't believe him. She's scared. She's very feminine. She's not battle hardened. But when he gets there, she's hooked up with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's been reprogrammed, who saved her when she was a child. So everything, the timeline for the first two films changed because she didn't get rescued by Kyle Reese from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
She gets rescued when she's a child and her dad dies, and then she's brought up by the T-800 who's been reprogrammed, which I thought was a fantastic twist to how I wasn't expecting it. And then they kind of go through it, and then they go into the future, which again, it was like, I felt like it was close enough to the original concept that it was good, but it was different in that they went to the future.
Yeah,
and
I'm with you.
It was like in modern day, because I think I've said before, I'm not always a fan of films set in the past. I prefer my films kind of set in present day, but it depends on the film, I guess. But so then they're in 2017, and Skynet's now, the timeline's been changed because Sarah was saved as a kid, and so there wasn't Judgment Day basically from the second film, so there was no end of the world thing, and you don't get the rise of machines, so you don't get the nuclear war, which was set by Skynet. So it's basically the end of Judgment Day 2, where they save the day, Judgment Day is avoided, and then it carries on from there. So they're in 2017. They see John, who's, when he was taken at the start of the film, he'd been infused with these particles or whatever. So he's like part machine, part person, and he's the baddie. Which again, I thought, all right, that's different. Something different, because he's been built. The only thing there's like two ways to look at it, isn't there? There's like on one side, and I can see why people criticised this aspect of it. On one side, you've got, John Connor's been built up as the hero for 5 films, and now he's the baddie, and it's kind of like, well, that was a waste of my time. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, that's a nice change, because it's always the same. John Connor's the savior. Yeah, and I liked it.
I keep going back to Star Wars. It's like, I'd like to see a switch on that, like Rey being the dark side and Kylo Ren being on the light. Just a switcheroo every now and again. I like to see it.
I haven't seen him. Don't spoil it.
Oh, right.
I haven't seen him. I haven't seen the new ones. Don't spoil it. Just ruined it now, James. I'm never going to be able to watch them ever again.
Yes, you will. You don't even...
I don't even know who they are. But yeah.
Oh, right. Shit. Yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry, man.
It's all right. I haven't watched any of the newest lot. Like, I've watched the ones, like the original ones, and I've watched
you don't know who's on what side?
No. I think I've watched like the trilogy from when we were teenagers, and I've watched the first one. I think it's called The New Hope or something.
A New Hope, yeah.
The very first one of the most recent kind of reboots they did, but I haven't watched anything after that.
I shut up then. Carry on, Simon, because you're on a roll.
Yeah, and it's now not Skynet. It's called Cyberdyne and Genesis, which, because the timeline's changed, but John is using his knowledge of all the technology in the future to build it on the sly. And because it's 2017, everyone's connected to their phones and Wi-Fi and cars, and everything's connected, which makes sense, which I liked, because it's like
It's relevant.
It's bringing it up to date, like, and
Yeah.
relevant and stuff.
Because we are all like, to our phones
Yeah,
and
everyone's
the internet.
connected to their
We've
phones.
got
And,
smart houses now,
yeah.
not just smartphones.
Well, yeah, that's what they were saying, is everything's connected to the house, the car, and it's so as soon as this Genesis program launched, they had the ability to do everything which they wanted to do in the original Judgment Day, which means then you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's Pops, because he's brought up Sarah, and Kyle Reese, who are like fighting John, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like a super Terminator because he's infused with it. And then right at the end, they kind of defeat him. Arnold gets his upgrades to make sure, so he's no longer a T800. He's like a T800 with like the liquid stuff and all this type of stuff. And it's really good. They got away, like they've saved the day, and John and Sarah can be together because she, all through the film, she didn't tell him that John was their son because she didn't want Kyle to die. And she said, like, if I fall in love with you, then you'll die, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, it ends with her saying, oh, I can finally choose. And then there's a mid-credit scene where actually Genesis survived, and then they cancelled it. And then they did like this Dark Fate, which is the new one. And what bugs me about it is they make it very clear someone sent Pops back to save Sarah, but you never find out who.
Yeah.
Like, because it obviously wasn't Kyle, because he would know. It obviously wasn't John, because why would he send Kyle to save her as an adult? So it's like, well, who was it then? And it was bugging me, and then
it's
I don't know who it is.
Shame, like it's bombed, like, because
that's like, I feel like that's a good, not cliffhanger, but like a plot to reveal at a later date.
Yeah. You leave it a couple of years, and then the appetite might be, because it might be like a cult winner. Like films do that. Like Shawshank Redemption, never good in the cinema, and then it's just got cult status now once it went out on home video and DVD and stuff.
Yeah, there's a few like that, isn't there? Which have gone on to do that.
Well, like Solo, the Han Solo film, people hated that, and once they watched it, they were like, "Oh no, this is really good." And now they want to make Solo 2. So, like, it does take a while, but I think it'll eventually get made, especially if James Cameron got anything to do with it.
Yeah. So just before we move on to the new one, I pulled up a thing which was like 6 questions which come out of Terminator Genesis. So, like, which would have probably got answered. So it was like, the first one was, how is there liquid metal in the alternate 1984? Because in when they trap the Terminator in the room, it's obviously a liquid Terminator, so the only way they can kill it is by dropping liquid on it to melt it, basically. So that was like quite an interest, where did that come from? I guess you could say it came from Arnold, because he's from the future, maybe. I don't know. Obviously, who said Pops back to 1973? Because you kind of don't find out. He rescues the young Sarah, brings her up, but you never find out. And it's skewed the whole timeline, but it's never divulged. Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah. It's like, it's a lot of, like, hopefully it'll all get answered one day.
So they say on this, the possible answer, it says, as we saw with Carl Reese's memories, once the time stream has been altered, the ripples instantaneously start to form new memories in the people. So if you're a time traveler, then you not only retain your old memories, but you also have them. You somehow manage to get the new memories of yourself. So we could assume that John Connor's transformation into the T-3000, which gave Skynet a new strategy, which was to kill Sarah Connor instead of John. thus that changed the rules of the game. This means that Kyle Reese or Sarah Connor herself at some point in the future could possibly have reprogrammed Pops and sent him back, because they'd all have extra memories in the future, I guess, would be what they're trying to say. But I don't know.
Good fucking answer, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? Why did Skynet still send a T-800 back to 1984? Because obviously, when Kyle Reese goes back, expecting to find original Sarah, the T-800, the original Arnie, is still there to kill her, and then the new, because you get that scene where he says, "I need your clothes and your motorcycle," and then the Pops says, "You won't need your clothes," and then they destroy him or whatever. So why would he still be there? Why would Skynet send him? But it's interesting. It's another one, isn't it? It's time travel and stuff. The other thing I liked about it was the Detective O'Brien knowing them, seeing them in 1984, and then it really getting to him for 20 years, 30 years, or whatever it is, and then him when they finally turn up in 2017, that's it proves him right and stuff, and he's not a crackpot, and they intimate that he's got drink problems and stuff, which is because of what happened to him. And I liked that. I thought that was a good through line to add an extra character to it.
Like in Independence Day, when they all think he's crazy with the aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
And when they turn out, oh no, he isn't crazy.
And then they've got fifth question: how could Skynet survive the explosive finale? Well, it was buried deep underground, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously it says how would it know how to what to do, because it's just a computer, but it's a really advanced AI, which ends up killing the human race, isn't it? So I mean,
it's not military spec. It's above military spec. And
the final question is: how is John Connor still alive if Sarah and Kyle didn't get together in 1984? Which I guess is interesting. But then at the end of the film, they get together anyway. So
it's
they just because they he could be a couple of months younger or older. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. It's still there, isn't it? So it's not a massive.
It's not like Kyle died before she got pregnant, sort of thing.
Yeah. So that's not. I wouldn't.
That's not a massive question, is it?
No.
Okay, so let's move on to the main event. Terminator Dark Fate. What did you think of it overall, mate?
It was all right. I hope this isn't the end.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt you. The other thing about Terminator Genesis, and the more I talk about it, the more I'm realizing how much I actually really liked it, was that the Sarah Connor that they got to play Sarah, because the original actress wasn't there. I thought she was very good, and she looked like her, which made a big difference.
It does,
sorry, mate.
Sorry. I like the new one, and I hope they make more. But I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? It's all right. It's not my favorite.
Would you have rathered they did what they did in a soft reboot based after Judgment Day?
Yes.
Or would you have rathered they had done a Genesis 2?
Go with Genesis 2, or maybe just a soft reboot. Because after Judgment Day,
this was kind of a soft reboot, really, wasn't it? They got rid of all the other films and just went back to the originals.
Yeah, it was just. Did we? It was that. Did we really need this film? I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, you could say that about many films, couldn't you? I suppose.
Yeah.
But one thing which really pissed me off straight away was that they killed Edward Furlong straight away. They brought him back, de-aged him, and then shot him. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
it's because he's a loose cannon, apparently.
Yeah, he is. He's like a child. He was a child actor, and they're all a bit. You can't trust
Yeah.
them, can you? Like, just that they've all at some point had issues with partying, shall we say? And so I can kind of get that, but I just thought they could have done a little bit more.
A little
with
bit
him.
more with him.
Just even if they'd had him as an adult, have him do some funny scenes or some like have him like where I don't know, have him like recognized, have him as like a teenager recognize Arnie and be like, oh, you know, great, you're here, amazing, wicked, lovely, because he was upset that he died in Terminator 2, and then just like have him shoot him in the face or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would have been more entertaining to me than killing him as a kid.
Yeah, it's like,
plus,
oh, thanks.
Yeah, and plus, apart from the Edward Furlong side of it and bringing him back just for that, to de-age him and kill him, I couldn't really get on board with Sarah coming around to like him because he killed your kid. So I don't care like if he's saving the world.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's your kid. Like
you ain't forgetting. And it's not like he did it by accident. Where you may grow to forgive him. He shot him in the head or whatever. So it's like, come on.
That's just cold.
Yeah,
what
and
are you doing?
I think like,
and so having kids, I'm like, I'd never forgive that person.
Yeah, I could kind of understand it if like it was like an accident or something. And maybe like 20 years down the line, you kind of come to terms with it a bit and forgive the person. But like with that, you know,
no.
Plus, when you add in the fact that she's been at war with Terminators for pretty much the last 30 years, do you know what I mean? For her to completely do a 180 and like forgive him, and I don't know. I know she didn't forgive him. And she never said, I forgive you. They never really got, like, they were never friends. But she was enough that she, like, I don't know.
I don't know. It seemed a bit cozy, didn't it?
Yeah. By the end, they were quite cozy. When she called him by his name, didn't she? Carl.
Yeah, it was like...
She said Carl, even though she said she wouldn't. But then she was trying to save the girl. And
yeah. But it's still, like, kids, just, you doing...
Yeah, I thought.
Like, I suppose though that's why we don't make movies, because we make a bit more realistic.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I think the way I look at this one was, I thought Arnie was back to form as the Terminators. I thought he was really good. I thought he was pretty good as Pops, but he was back to proper Terminator in this. I thought that having the real Sarah Connor was a real bonus because I thought she was amazing. I thought Danny was really good, the actress who played her. I thought she showed some good promise if they do make some more for like a different character to John Connor. The Grace character, I wasn't so much. I thought she was a bit. I thought the acting was a little bit robotic, which people would probably say, "Oh, she's played a robot." So but I don't know. I didn't think it was great.
Just acting, it's your job.
Yeah. Gabriel Luna as the Terminator was incredible. I'd have him back.
Yeah.
But he was really good. Although I didn't think they gave him enough lines. Like one of the good things about the original films is the quippy one-liners and stuff, which not just Arnold has, but the other Terminators have.
They're quotable films, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Like they're all quotable films.
But it wasn't just Arnold, was it? It was like the other Terminators had, like Robert Patrick had good lines, and Kyle Reese, the original Kyle Reese, had good lines, and I felt like they didn't do that enough with Gabriel Luna, who's obviously plays Ghost Rider as well.
Yeah,
but it was good.
It's a good film. It's
amazing.
Okay. No, it's one of them ones that you throw on every now and again.
Yeah, it's like an action film. Good one to watch when you come home from the pub, I'd say.
If you I've seen this to the boys in work because they're all big Terminator fans. With this one, if you started at that one you wouldn't. I don't think I go back and watch the others. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But then if you watch Terminator 1, Terminator 2, then this as a trilogy, I think that would be quite good.
They're fine then.
Be really, really good. But for me, like Terminator Genesis, best film ever now.
You're gonna watch it again now, aren't you?
I am going to watch it again now before I
Yeah.
go to bed. Best film ever. And I'm going to start a petition. So I expect you all to sign it.
I will sign it.
Sign my petition to get the questions answered. Who sent Pops? And if anyone's read the comics, tell me, who sent Pops? I want to know.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to make my mission. I want to go to the comic book shop next time. I'll find the comics you sign it.
Well,
I'll
mate,
send them to
I've
you.
Googled it to try and find out, like, if someone's put on, like, who sent him, and if they reveal, which makes me think they didn't reveal it in the comics. But it says, in all the stuff I've read today, that was the first of 3 films. They cancelled the films, but they did bring out comics to tell the story. So if you're going to tell the story, one of the main plot points was who sent Pops. Is that they said that
It got to be in the comic.
in the interviews and that, so it's got to be in the comic. But yeah, if they make any more, it's absolutely essential that they keep Danny, they keep the real Sarah Connor, and
Linda Hamilton.
and obviously Arnie's got to keep doing them.
She was married to James Cameron as well. I didn't know that. Till the other day.
I didn't know that either. What do you think about the fact that it was no longer a T something? It was the Rev 9, because obviously it's no longer Skynet.
It was just it's don't like stuff that messes your head. You're like, that's wrong.
Yeah, it didn't feel right, did it?
Yeah, I don't like stuff changing when you've known stuff for so long. And you're like, that's wrong. What are you doing?
Well, the thing is, they've always been like the T800, T1000, T101. Isn't it? Come on.
What are you doing?
Don't just change it.
Stop changing stuff willy-nilly.
That's it, bud. So, what are we going to review on the next episode, mate?
Ooh.
The Irishman.
Well, I'm going to, Irishman, and I'm going to see Star Wars. I don't know if you probably won't see Star Wars. So you won't.
I'll tell you what, mate. As a little Christmas treat for you, I'll watch all the Star Wars.
All right, then.
And then we'll review the new Star Wars. For when's it out?
It's out on Wednesday evening, so Thursday. So I'm going at midnight Wednesday. So because I'm a nerd.
So I'm trying to think when we're likely to record this now.
It'll be after Christmas.
It's not going to be in it. Yeah, it's not going to be till the end of December at least, is it? So
January.
Yeah. So we'll do what we did with the Terminator films.
Review all of them.
Yeah, we'll have a little run.
I tell you what, to do you a good one as well. We won't review the Phantom Menace because it's rubbish, or the Clone Wars, or the Clone Wars.
We'll miss out the 3 from our team.
The prequels.
Yeah. Because I don't like prequels anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll do the 3 original ones and then all the new ones, and we'll talk a bit about the Irishman, and
because that's a brilliant film.
Yeah, and any Marvel news.
Oh, Jumanji.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, we'll do Jumanji too. Right. Okay, we might have to. That's all right. Because we'll have had like a bit of time off from doing a show. We'll do a longer one. We'll talk original Star Wars. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So original Star Wars, the newest Star Wars,
The Irishman,
and Jumanji.
A lot of films.
Yeah, well, it'll be like a 2-hour show, but I tell you what we'll do then. I tell you because I want to talk about Jumanji. We won't talk about the original Star Wars. We'll just do all the new ones which I haven't seen yet.
Right,
so
there we are.
So it's like
Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker,
and the Mandalorian.
But
we'll just talk about that loosely.
Yeah. Not to spoil it for everyone.
Yeah, well, by the time it might be finished by then, but then people, we can't talk about the Mandalorian because people complain.
It's not till 31st of March.
Because I got some people moaning when I talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because it wasn't out in the UK and I forget. So all the new Star Wars, and then we'll talk Jumanji 3, and we'll talk The Irishman, and any Marvel news next time out. James, tell the people where they can find you on the social media.
I am at Jamo Cardiff 2011 on the Twitter.
Sweet. Guys, you can follow me at ACEcast_nation, facebook.com/ACEcastNation. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/AcePodcastNation. That's the best way to support us. We have podcasts on bloody everything. We have three new shows a week. We've got loads of really cool guests. Just recently, we've had UFC fighter Brett Johns. I done a couple of shows with another UFC fighter, a Bellator fighter. I've had Johnny Owen, the actor, on. We've had Shed 7 lead singer Rick Witter on. The list is endless. So get involved. Let us know who you'd like us to have on the show. And if you like football, check out the weekly show every Wednesday with myself and Andy Campbell. See you soon. Jamie, thank you for your time, buddy.
Thank you, Simon.
Always a laugh. Always a pleasure. Always make me smile, mate.
And one time, we won't go off on Marvel fucking directions.
Nah, what's the point in that?
Isn't it?
What's the point in that? We've got to do Marvel. Everyone loves Marvel.
They do that. They do that.
That's why I made all my podcasts. They just go off on random tangents as we talk about stuff.
Every time, though, with us, like.
Yes, that's fine. That's what this conversations, mate. Conversations with the Welshmans.
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, people.
You.
And we will see you guys next time. Laters. Bye.